Hello, everyone. This is Vidula Kamath, and I'm the founder of Ultra Women Entrepreneurs Group. It's on Facebook. It's a Facebook-based platform where uh, we have a tribe of women, a community of women who are entrepreneurs, of course, and they share their journey. They share some tips and some solutions to our problems. So, here today, we are starting our channel, the Ultra Women Entrepreneurs, the Fab Speakers. This is something which I was always passionate about, and I wanted to, have these entrepreneurs to showcase themselves and share their expertise and tips on, different aspects of our lives. So today we have Dr. Samidha Rumde, and she runs a digital hair clinic. She's a homeopathic doctor. And, she runs this clinic along with her sister Rumde, and they're serving since 2007. So I see she's got a vast experience in this field, and I'm sure it will be very helpful for us to, counter some of the major hair problems that we always go through, being a woman, being a mother, uh, post-pregnancy issues, hair loss, dandruff, and there are numerous. We do go through some of the YouTube videos, and there are it's a pool of solutions that we don't understand. We still think that these remedies would work. Some are the homemade remedies, or some are from the experts as well. But it's a confused world out there. So to clear that out, we have Dr. Samita with us, and she's going to help us counter some of these issues bravely with homeopathy, right? So, Doctor, can you give us a background of what exactly is homeopathy medicine?
Basically, homeopathy is like any other platform like you use in kind of medicine. Like in modern medicine, you have those are like tablets. In Ayurveda, that's a very long term treatments. And homeopathy is also one of those kinds, but it is very gentle because we have very mild doses and we don't have basically side effects because we have very much control over the doses what we give. So that's homeopathy in nutshell. And also it's a holistic science. Like we consider everything. Like we consider all aspects of your life, not only just your physical symptoms, but whatever you're going through. Because, stress is also a part and parcel of life. Because today you cannot overcome or not separate stress from your lifestyle, so there has to be something in the background. So we consider all the mental symptoms, whatever is there going on in the background, and those affect those physical symptoms. So everything, it's a holistic approach. And we also give dietary change, any lifestyle changes. So basically it's an overall or a holistic approach, I can say in a nutshell.
Okay. So, can you give us a brief about how a diet plays an important role in our hair health?
Exactly, because ultimately, what I feel is what you eat is what you are. It's exactly the same thing. Because hair, when you say, whatever advertisements you see, people only think about hair and biotin and nothing else. Like there are a lot of people who come up, like say, I'm taking biotin gummies from a long, long time, or maybe just iron tablets from a long, long time. Still, we are facing a lot of issues. But it's not just any one element that's going to help you, because ultimately your hair depends on the hair cycle. It also has a hair cycle. So if you want a healthy cycle, there are a lot of elements which come in. It's basically your iron. Yes, your biotin also helps, but it's not just two things. There's calcium, there's zinc you need, there's B12. Everything should be there. So basically, we are focused on having a balanced diet. So not just overcome, like just focusing on just one element. It's basically you have to have a balanced diet. And in simple terms, I always tell them, like, think about it like a rainbow or maybe a colored. So the many colors you have in your palette or whatever you are eating, the more it will be helpful, because different colors have different elements, and those are going to help you. So it's ultimately comes down to one term, like what you eat is what you are.
That's great. Of course, diet plays an important role, and I see that there's an holistic approach. So it's not just diet, it's also the products that we use. So how important it is to use a product wisely, so, and how do we do it?
Yeah. So basically, whatever you eat now, it should go in a sequence. Like only carbs you eat, only proteins you eat, it's not going to help. So in one of the studies which is coming up very new and it's very popular on Instagram right now, if you eat it in a series, like first you have your fiber, then your protein, then the carbs, then the starch, and then the sugar. If you eat it in a sequence, like this sequence, it is not going to affect you. Obviously the number of calories is should be under control, but if you eat it in this sequence, it's not going to affect you much. Obviously the more the quantity, it's going to affect you. But if you have a normal diet like what we used to have in the older days, those typical, we had a very full plate, like we had small things. We used to start with the salad, and then we had a little bit of pickle, then we had like the vegetables, like proteins from that. Then we also used to have dahi, that all is included in that. Then we used to have the carbs like the roti, and then the dal rice. And then used to come the last, which is the sugar, anything related to sweet. The sweet comes last, but it should be in a very small quantity. If you go by this system or in this sequence, it is not going to affect you much, and it will be on the healthier side. Also, it's balanced way. So I always say, like, eat everything, but in a controlled quantity, not just one, not just proteins or not just any particular diet.
Right. Uh, so, balanced diet, yes, it is a must, but we all have some or the other kind of deficiency. So, how do we know that, what what exactly we need more in our diet as compared to other, elements?
So the most important thing is, as what we used to be taught by our teachers, like the first thing what you see in a hair fall case, like first thing, it is and going to be an iron deficiency, underlying iron deficiency. If you treat underlying iron deficiency and if you're still facing hair fall, then it is the other things like the micronutrients. Now for the micronutrients, you don't have any control over them. Like people have been eating multivitamin tablets for like ages, like after 30s they just start every day, but still they face deficiencies. It is because your gut health is not good, because you're eating it but it is not getting assimilated, or maybe it is not used up properly by your body. So your gut health also is important. So that's why, a little bit of curd we eat, or eating it in a sequence, or not eating too much of sweets. It
Right.
should be particular quantity that is going to be most helpful. So if your gut is good, only then all those nutrients, like it's getting inside, but it is not getting used by the body. That's where the deficiency starts. But mostly it is iron deficiency 90% of the times. And
Okay.
after that, if it's not getting good, it is maybe an underlying disease that is causing it not to assimilate, like not used to, maybe a thyroid, underlying thyroid. It's that reason. So most of the 90% of time you need iron and proteins. That's what I can say. And like I said before, only you don't have to worry about like what deficiency, what should I get to eat more. So basically, you just have this funda, like eat different colors, like different seasonal fruits, different colored fruits, and different colored vegetables. So if you have that, in your routine, then you don't will not face any kind of deficiency. Obviously, a good lifestyle, a little bit of meditation, or maybe to alleviate some kind of stress, like little bit of exercise or just walking you have now, then it's going to be an if you basically have a good lifestyle, so you don't have to worry much about what I might suffering from any kind of deficiency or something like that.
So I really like this. We have to kind of uh, develop that kind of lifestyle if we want a good hair health and overall health. But then what happens when you age, and especially when you are crossing 30s and 40s? This is where, we see these problems escalating more and more. And to counter it, it becomes very difficult because we have several issues at that point of time. And we are not sure if we are really going to get our or regenerate our hair, or get our follicles healthy as it used to be in our 20s. So how do we face it?
See, as you age, what one thing happens, the follicles are there. Like now in whatever you are in 20s, in 30s, in 40s, they start to shrink. That's when the hair which comes out from the shaft becomes thin. So you see a hair thinning because of that. But as long as those hair follicles are present, if you have a good diet, a good lifestyle, or maybe if required any kind of treatment, then you can regrow hair. Especially in your 30s, it is very much possible, even in your 40s, with a good diet, good lifestyle, and a proper treatment. Basically, your hair routine also, hair care routine is also important. So everything it needs to be taken into consideration. First, as you age, the stress levels keep on increasing. Like it's different from this. Like nowadays, like in 30s, 40s, like you get stressed up, like you have kids, then you stress up about them also. Then it's basically even for the past 4 years, people already had the stress levels very high, and it was continuous thing. It never went down completely. Even now, because people have that this pandemic has come down, people have been back to their routines. But even then, because of the losses, everything which happened in the past 3 years, they're still into that continuous level of stress. So that is affecting hair. So it is not just one thing which is there in your 40s. It is stress related. It is age related. Maybe an underlying disease which comes up. Maybe a thyroid, or nowadays because of stress, you see early diabetics, pre-diabetic states. So it's more of everything comes in there. So you can't pick up just one thing. Basically, first thing you should have is your good lifestyle, then the meditation, and a good diet. That you cannot run away from. Even though I know people have a lot of hectic schedules, like people from IT background, like they don't have a sleep pattern only. Like they 2 to 3 hours, they just have to run behind people. Like now, no, okay, just catch up on those sleep, and then they have a meeting. It's basically it's
Like a zombie.
havoc. So that sleep is also very much important. So that is what I'm going to tell you. Like it is not just one thing you have to see. It comes down to a holistic approach, and you cannot run away from it.
Yeah, like you said, I was about to mention, what about the working ladies? They are into their busy lifestyle, and hair is the least that they can take care of, because it's a very busy schedule. You have to take care of children, your routine, and then come back home and cook. So where do they where can they find the time to take care of the hair? And also, uh, if they do, can they start? I mean, where do they start?
See, in the morning, the routine is set, so you cannot change much in the office schedule. So, what I will suggest is the day before. It's always in the night which you have to prepare. So, three things can be done since today itself. Like the 3-2-1, what we used to see, it's very famous now, and Instagram influencers also use it. 3 hours before sleep, stop the work. If I know it's impossible to do it, but at least start to it, or maybe just set up timeline or something like that, so that whatever sleep you get, it is undisturbed. So 3 hours before sleep, stop the work. 2 hours before sleep, you should finish off with whatever you are going to eat, whatever meal, whatever diet. It should be before 2 hours before sleep. And 1 hour before sleep is just switch off your, or maybe don't have those screens in front of you, because that is going to affect your sleep cycles, because you'll not get those good sleep. As it is just 5 to 6 hours. Ideally, it should be 8 hours, but I know 8 hours is impossible for a lot of people. But whatever sleep you get, it is should be a good quantity, like not a quantity, but a quality sleep. So that these things, if you at least follow now, and then once you start imbibing a good lifestyle, everything will start working up. And once this is done, also one thing can be done is whatever the schedule is there for the next day or maybe the week or everything is there, just write it down in a piece of paper. Like, since you're a life coach, you know better than me, but still, whatever we used to learn, the first thing is the day before, prep everything, write it down, even though it's there in your mobile or whatever screens, but writing it down helps more. Like, I don't know what's the connection or how does it, it's different for different people. Writing it down and scheduling everything, like right now I should know whatever I'm going to do for the next 3 months, at least quarter should be ready. A brief, obviously, everything cannot be very much perfect, but I read this book called as 12-week year. So it is that thing which has helped me at least, because my schedule is like everything is digital. Like every hour I'm talking to people, and it's not I cannot say like if I give an appointment, I cannot be late or something like that. So I have to be whatever I can. I have to be in between these calls. Like I have to, even myself, I have to be ready with all those answers, or I have to take care of my hair. So the routine, it should be set. And obviously the standards, you have to set some standards for you, the boundaries, everything. So that is something which needs to be, which you have to choose. Like you have to choose your life or somebody else does. It's a common saying. So that is going to help.
Yes, I completely agree. Because being a life coach, yes, I do believe in journaling and uh, creating goals and writing it down and jotting it down every time, which actually gives you a clarity and direction in your life, uh, which has which is directly proportional to the stress that is released. So if you don't want stress in your life, yes, you have a good schedule, a good goal book, and stick to it. And it really helps. And I would like to emphasize more on the sleeping thing. Sleeping on time. Um, what should I say? Even when I had a mobile initially, especially during the COVID times, this kind of aggregated the addiction to the gadget. It is very difficult to, not doom scroll even after the COVID. This is the problem of most of, people around. Uh, but uh, when I, started seeing the effects on my health, I realized that, okay, now we have to change this pattern and break this pattern. It will be very difficult initially, but then gradually we kind of, get used to it. So, yes, mobile is a very big reason. And also, I realized that when we sleep on time or we sleep by 10 or max to max 11, I wouldn't suggest 11, but by 10, then, these growth hormones are released. And that kind of helps to regenerate our cells, also take care of our gut health and hair and skin and everything. So I've become very specific to this. And yes, I did approach a homeopathic doctor as well when, I had fallen sick. But the best thing that I have known about homeopathy, the solutions are very simple. So even the medicines are very simple. There is no side effect as such. So that kind of helps. Now, all I want to know is how homeopathy suits, a diabetic person. Is it, since, we are taking those tablets and they seem a little sugary to us, not a little completely sugary to us, but then is it safe enough for a diabetic person to use it?
Yeah, definitely. See, what in diabetics, it is not the quantity, it is how you take that sugar that's more important. I'm talking about diet first. It is like what I believe, if you have small quantity at a time and at regular intervals, it is not going to peak your sugar levels. That's what we asked our patients to do, like small quantity at a particular time. Like you have to be very stick to your routine. Like if you are going to eat your lunch at 1 o'clock, max to max it should be up to 1:30, but the quantity should be such that it is easy to digest. And if you do that and if you follow this thing, then you do not have those peaks, like the sugar peaks. And that, if a baseline is there, if a good baseline sugar is there, then it doesn't affect you much. But and obviously you don't go for any sugary stuff. Like even I am not a very much or an advocate of the sugar substitute. Ultimately everything comes down to sugar only, so I am not an advocate of substitutes. If it is just a mere choice you have to take, like you have to go without sugar. And you can go through natural ways. Like you can, if you are very much having a craving to eat something like a sweet stuff, you can go for a little quantity of maybe a fruit that is sweet. Maybe even mango also, just one piece. If you are having that craving, just one piece that time. I will not obviously suggest go for an entire mango. So these are very small tips and tricks. And to continue with that, our quantity of medicine is very small. Like it is pillules, small pillules. Max to max we give 4 pillules, and that sugar quantity is very very less. That's not going to affect you. Anything which doesn't increase that peak sugar level in your body is not going to affect you. So small quantities at regular intervals, anything, be it medicine, be it in something from your diet, that's not going to affect you much. So it's, we label ourselves now, we are diabetics now, what everything, it's the end of life. It's not like that. If you overcome the stress, you have a proper diet, everything, routine, exercise, you'll have a very good lifestyle. Because people have been with this diabetes for a long long time. So there are sports people, sports persons, very known personalities who have type 1 diabetes also. So they can, if they can have a very good lifestyle without having much problem, so obviously we can also. So everything comes down to this only. It's basically you have to stick to a very good lifestyle, and then nothing is going to happen.
So,
Even hair.
right. So, since we're talking about hair, does hair problem occur due to diabetes?
Yes, of course, because diabetes, it is something, it is affecting your all the cells of your body. So obviously, hair is also ultimately a cell. So anything which affects the entire body is also going to affect the cells, the growth cells, and then ultimately it's going to affect your hair cycle. Once the cycle, normal cycle is affected, you will start to see the hair fall. So it is because of that. It is not directly linked to diabetes, but because of the diabetes you have affecting entire body cells, and one of the cells being hair, it is that's the reason why it's related.
Okay. I can totally relate to this since, I think I left sugar somewhere when I was in college. So I have completely stopped using sugar. I use a substitute. I use jaggery at times, uh, but then it doesn't affect me much. But then I've seen the difference where the position I am at right now at this age compared to my friends. I have much better immunity as well as hair, skin. Uh, Not to brag, but then uh, I think that I can actually vouch for this that the moment you eradicate sugar from your diet, you start seeing the difference. There was a point of time in COVID, especially where I had started eating sugar, and I could immediately see the difference on my skin as well as my sleep cycle. So yes, I can. That's the reason I can relate to this. Now this is about hair loss, but I would like to more about uh, hair graying as well, because I've seen that there's a lot of premature graying nowadays seen in the teenagers. So how do you combat that?
See, premature graying, basically first what the norm was, it is before 30s, it was used to call, people used to call it as premature. But now with the lifestyle change and everything, if it is before 20s, I will to just say if it is around 15 to 18 years, before that, then it is premature graying because everything has changed lifetime. So before 20s, you have gray, then only we label it as premature graying. After 30s, it is a normal aging process. And I personally do not give treatments for premature graying if you come in your 30s. Obviously, it's a big no in your 40s.
Right.
So in teenage, what happens, in premature graying, most of the reason, 90% of times, it is an underlying nutrition and the nutritional problem. Like it's mostly related to deficiency. If you treat those deficiency, ultimately it's going to your grays will not turn black, but the new ones which are going to come up, obviously, if you have a good diet and lifestyle and everything, it is that it should, we try to give it like it should come black hair. It should not come gray. But
Right.
whatever is there, like the present thing, like the gray will not turn black because
Okay.
once it is there, it is not going to change.
Yeah, it's out there, so you can't.
And after 20s also, it's going, we can only max to max control the number of gray hairs which are coming up. Like, I cannot tell you 100%. Like, if you have a set of gray hairs, like see 20%, I max to max, I can keep it to 20%. But if you tell me, come up and tell me, like, I want to turn my gray hair into black and give me something, some magical thing. So that's not going to happen. It is some percent way, maybe less, but whatever grays are there in your 30s are going to remain gray. They are not going to turn black.
So here we are talking very realistic goals. So thank you for clearing this out, because we have seen so many serums, and so many potions coming out, especially to uh, repair this pre-graying thing. But I think that, like you said, the lifestyle or what the diet as well as how you treat your hair. So nowadays we have seen that uh, even the 15-year-old girls are coloring their hair and doing some keratin treatments, and there are so many. I mean, nanoplastic is something that has come up. So how are these treatments affecting our hair? And uh, since I think 70 to 80% of population of female population are already doing it, and they are already others and taking those treatments. uh, but what are the long-term effects of those treatments, and uh, is there any silver lining to it, where you can think that maybe we can use it like once in a 6 months or something, or once in a year is should be fine. So how does these treatments affect us?
See, ultimately, if any treatment is going to use heat styling as a procedure, it is going to affect your hair shaft. So, for the time being, it will look good. But if you do it very frequently, like there are people who do it every 3 months. So, that is going to affect their hair like anything. Like, any kind of treatment which has heat styling is going to affect your hair. So max to max, what we suggest is keeping it down to just once a year, because your life has become so plasticky. I call it like
Right.
we cannot do like we cannot just be the selves which we used to be in 10 to 20 years ago. Everyone wants to look good, and that is not a bad thing to be there. You can do it, but it is a choice. Obviously, it is going to affect your hair. And if you are going to make a choice, at least see to it that you keep it down to just once a year. Because if you do it very frequently, because of the heat styling tools, it is going to dry up the shaft.
Right.
Externally it may look good, but internally it is becoming, it's becoming dry. And then after some time, if you do it repeatedly, it is going to show you breakage, and there going to be split ends.
Right.
Also, the roots become so affected, so after a point, if you do it maybe twice or thrice, 3 to 4 cycles, your hair, it starts to look like people come to me and we are like, I now do something about this. Like, I tell them, first thing is stop those treatments. If you are going to, you want your hair back, if you can make a choice, obviously, if you are not into that kind of a profession, obviously there are certain professions, if you are in front of the camera, you cannot cannot make that choice, like, no, I don't want to do that treatment, so that is not going to be helpful in that profession. But if there is any other profession where you can do without it, obviously you can make a choice. That is the personal choice that the person has to make. I cannot tell them, I just can tell them, get a good lifestyle. I will give treatments. My hair treatments will help to maintain. The growth will be there, but if you want to see a good long term results, that has to be reduced. So that, frankly, I have to tell everything, whatever it may be, as long as it has those heat styling or heat styling tools or maybe whatever, it is going to affect. And what, how to know it? Whenever you do those treatments, if you see a increase in hair fall 3 months post that treatment, that means it is not good for a long term. Like, long term, you cannot go with that kind of a treatment. And obviously, I will tell them, if you want to take my treatment, please first reduce that whatever treatments you are taking, and then we can start with our treatment, because there's no point in introducing something else, if and all, because it's basically their choice. They have to make, either you choose this lifestyle or this lifestyle, or maybe something in between. So that is something I need to tell them, because if I tell them don't do this kind of treatments, they are not going to listen, because
Correct.
that profession, people, there are certain professions you cannot do
Right.
without. So,
So
but at least that choice you have to like reduce it to at least once a year.
also, I think that it won't even be effective if you give this homeopathic treatment to a damaged hair with such harsh, uh, you know, go throughs. So I feel that you know, in the first place, those are chemicals, and any chemical which comes on our skin or the scalp, uh, it is going to damage us at some point or the other. But what are the adverse effects? What are the worst effects that we can get after hair cutting? And why I'm emphasizing more on this is because I I wanted teenagers also to know, or the girls also to know that why they should not go at an early age, especially.
See,
So
if you go to a proper salon and if it is authentic, they don't take up teenagers. They are trained. This nowadays, it's not that any salon you go in. A proper salon person is also trained in your hair health. So if he's an authentic person, he or she is an authentic person, he will say no to teenagers.
okay.
They know, because it is going to damage in the long run. And first, if the person comes to me and if I see, then I'll tell them, then you don't come to me only, because teenage is not an age to mess up with your hair. Because if you do mess up now, see what, imagine 15 years down the line, what is going to be the condition of your hair. I did there are parents that tell me, like, now if I do this 15 years, are their hair going to be there on the head? So
Right.
that fear is there in the parents. But there should be some, I know, even ultimately it comes down to personal choice.
Correct.
But it is, these are some things which you don't have to do in teenage, not at all, at
Correct.
no cost.
Correct. So this is one thing, and I would like you to also talk about at what extent can we use homeopathy in terms of hair issues? I mean, what if there is something major which is happening within us? because at times we also have hair loss due to bigger problems, uh, bigger medical conditions. So, what does homeopathy play a role in this kind of situation?
See, first, I'd like to, there's a misconception between two things. There's a term people use as hair loss, and there's a term which people use as hair fall or hair shedding. That's the medical term for hair fall. So,
Mhm.
if you understand the difference between what is a hair loss and hair shedding, then I can go further. So, hair loss is something because of an underlying condition. If it doesn't let your hair to grow, that is known as hair loss. And if there's a condition which is leading to an increase in your hair fall, like for example, 100 hairs like falling off a day are normal. But if you see 200 to like 150, 200 or more, like more hair are falling off, it is called as hair shedding. So that's a hair fall. So that's a different things. There are two different things which lead to two different, there's a difference between this.
Right.
Now, that one more thing I need to explain is the how is the hair cycle? How does the hair cycle work? So
Mhm.
basically, there are three major phases in a hair cycle: the growth phase, then there's a telogen phase, and then there's a catagen phase. Anagen, telogen, catagen. So
Okay.
anagen is the most important phase where your hair lies in almost 3 to 7 years. That's the growth phase. The hairs keep on growing. Then is a telogen phase. In this stage, your hair remain like dormant for at least 3 to 6 months, or let's just say 3 months, and then they just fall off in the catagen phase where we say dead cells, and they just fall off in the catagen phase. So these are the three major things. Now, any underlying disease which affects any of these stages is going to lead to hair loss or hair shedding. Suppose, for example, like if you have an autoimmune disorders, like you see thyroid disorders, autoimmune thyroid disorders, that is going to affect your growth phase. That is not allowing your hair to grow. So it shortens the cycle. That's when you don't see your hair growing, or you see very small hair, but they do not grow. So
Right.
that is because of an underlying disorder, like not just autoimmune, there are hereditary things, there are different things. Like people keep on using those styling tools, tight hairstyles like
Right.
ponytail. People just mess up every now and then with the hair. So that is going to affect the hair cycle. So that has a different treatment to it,
Oh.
where the hair is not growing. And there are certain things like where you see persistent hair fall, or maybe an increase. Suddenly you see your hair have started to fall. Now these are the different category which we call as hair shedding. So where will you see these conditions? That is the condition when your second cycle at the telogen phase is affected. That is somewhere seen it after stress, like maybe post delivery also, or maybe you had an illness like viral illnesses
Right.
like dengue or any other illnesses which is either related to stress. Sometimes, if you have a sudden loss of somebody in your family and you get
Right.
through a lot of stress, you see a lot of hair falling off. So that is a different category which we see, which we call as a telogen effluvium, where the telogen, the second phase is affected, and hence hair cycle is affected. So you have to target two different cycles of your hair, and the treatment varies. If there's an underlying disorder, a thyroid disorder, you have to treat that thyroid disorder. Also, obviously, there will be a dietary change here, like I said before, also lifestyle change. Then give the homeopathic medicines, and then the hair cycle will come back to normal. The hair will start to grow normally. And
Right.
if it's the second thing, like telogen effluvium, or let's just say it's stress related, you have to give them certain stress alleviating things, like we have to tell them to go for some meditation, certain exercises to so that the stress levels are coming down. And
Okay.
obviously there'll be diet, there'll be certain other changes, so that focus changes.
Right.
So basically homeopathy is a being a holistic system. You can
Mhm.
target different diseases also. So
Right.
whatever, it comes down to the cause, like
Mhm.
what is causing your hair, like is it causing a hair loss, or is it related to your hair fall, Is it related to any other disease? So if you treat that cause, obviously your hair fall, or if your hair is not growing, that is going to be better. So
Oh,
hair can be, it's not just, people just tag everything under this thing like it is hair fall. It is not just hair fall, it is seen as hair fall, but it can have various causes. Like it is age related, either it is because of thyroid, or in women like PCOS, hormonal changes. Then
right.
there is post delivery. Then there is stress related. There are hundreds of reasons causing hair fall. And if you treat that, that is going to come down. So hair fall is going to obviously be better. And also there are certain conditions like in autoimmune disorders, like you see alopecia areata, where in Marathi it is called as chai, in
Right.
Gujarat called as what do you call it? Undri, where you see a circular patch, a bald patch, suddenly it starts to appear. So
Mhm.
it is because an underlying autoimmune disorder, like your immune system is affecting your own body cells, and that's affecting your hair cells, and that's why those are destroyed. But that can also be taken care of with homeopathy. So basically, it covers almost everything
Mhm.
except externally. Like we don't give any external applications like if somebody comes and tell me like I have been to salon and I have very good hair, like those treatments give you some good look. But with homeopathy, I can give you healthy hair. Like obviously healthy hair also look good with your with the lifestyle changes, with the diet and everything. But I cannot give you a plasticky kind of an appearance with homeopathy, because we are not doing any local applications or any local treatments like which you get after heat styling. So that is something which we do not take up. Whenever a person says, like, a lot of people like, we want long bouncy hair, like I can tell them, if you are healthy, your hair can go become longer, and they start to see a shine, a natural shine, but not a cosmetic shine. That's the difference you
Correct.
need to understand. So basically homeopathy has a very large scope in all hair related problems.
Yes, the shine, like you said, a lot of girls, they want to go for the shine nowadays because it's so easily available. The treatments are so easily available, and it is widely used as well. So it becomes more easier to make a decision for them to, okay, if I want a shiny hair, I'll just do this, right? And that's one thing. But I feel that, uh, like you said, meditation is also one of the effective ways uh, in calming your stress level and uh, improving your overall mental as well as physical health. So, do you also, give meditation? I mean, do you include meditation into your homeopathy, treatments? Is it part of it?
So directly, I won't be giving any kind of like I will be telling them to either go for people who train you to do meditation, or
Mhm.
you can at least start a simple meditation technique, like breathing exercises are also there with the meditation, or just simply close your eyes and just sit with your you and your thoughts. That's it.
Mhm.
In people say like I cannot meditate because I have hundreds of thoughts in my mind, like they keep coming up. So I
Right.
tell them, meditation is not somewhere you have to put your thoughts like aside. It is just being you with your thoughts, for just you have to be still. That's something which can be included along, along with your homeopathic, along with any kind of homeopathic treatment, because that's going to affect in a good way. So I did not teach them meditation, but you have all these uh, digital apps. Like there are sound meditations. There are different
Right.
meditations. Like people have to choose what is going to help them. Like people love to hear certain sounds while meditating, so you can go for that. Or people just want to sit in some place, or maybe while walking, after a walk, just do breathing exercise and just sit in nature. So that is also a form of meditation. Maybe some people like to go to seashore and see those tides, or maybe sit somewhere, or maybe hear the sounds of birds. So there are different, there are hundreds of meditation techniques. So I do not teach meditation techniques, but I advise them to at least start one or the other form of meditation that's going to like lower the stress levels. So basically, if I'm treating a hair shedding case, obviously I'll suggest them to go for at least one or the other form of meditation. That I can advise them, but I cannot teach them because I'm not expert in that.
Right, absolutely. And also, one of the most important point or the aspect of homeopathic treatment is I would like to know what is the timeline in which the cure actually happens. So, because I have heard, I mean, it generally takes more time than the allopathy or the Ayurvedic. So, how it is designed?
See, for the timeline, again, it comes down to the hair cycle. See, anything which is affecting your hair growth cycle, like it is anywhere from around 3 to 7 years. So that if you are treating or targeting something which is comes under that much time, obviously you need to give. I'm not saying 7 years, but at least 1 to 2 years you need to give the support because there's an underlying thyroid disorder, suppose, or it may be an autoimmune disorder. So it cannot be magically like I'm giving medicine and your hair pops up and everything. So it needs time. So homeopathy is not slow. What is the underlying cause we are treating? And then once it is proper, then the proper hair will grow. So in any normal case also, you just see 1/4 to half an inch of hair which is growing every month. Suppose it is half an inch in a normal case. So 1 year around it will get 6 inches. And after 2 years, you will get 12 inches. So in hair thinning cases, once the hair is about 12 inch or something like that, only then it is going to cover your scalp, right? Otherwise, your scalp will be seen. Even if I'm giving you medicines or your hair are going, like people go to salon, they say, we are getting baby hairs. But those baby hair need to grow and cover your scalp. Only then your hair treatment will see the results. So it is not homeopathy which is slow. Your hair growth cycle is only slow. So you need to give that support for a long period of time. Only then you will see the results. It will be there from day one. Your hair fall will start to reduce. But to see the results in the photos, like the photogenic thing, like before and afters, you need to give that much of time. Only when the hair will grow from 6 to 12 inches, then only you'll see the results, especially in hair thinning cases. Obviously, anything which is affecting your hair growth cycle, the first phase, the growth phase, that is going to take a long, long time. It's not homeopathy which is slow. It's the hair normal cycle that is slow.
Thank you so much for clearing this. Because obviously, I mean, it also depends on the condition, underlying condition that a person is going through. But compared to allopathy and Ayurvedic, again, like you said, so you mean is it takes equal amount of time, but it's just that you actually target the root cause of it, and this is how you treat. If I'm not right.
Correct, because even in allopathy and Ayurveda also, any medicine pathy will be treating the cause only. People they fell for those advertising gimmicks which show that we got so much of hair in such a short period of time, which is not going to happen because a normal hair growth will only happen just 1 foot to max half a inch a month. So where am I going to give you results in a month? Only if it is just 1/4 inch, only tiny hair are going to grow. So people are not obviously going to see the result. Even though I'm going to give them results, the hair are there, but it is not going to cover the entire scalp, right? Especially I keep on getting hair thinning cases, like there is a widening of the partition or more scalp to see. So until and unless whatever path you go by, you either use any kind of solution in allopathy medicines or even in Ayurveda, they all target the cause only. It is just that people have that thing in the subconscious mind is gone. That homeopathy is not slow. It is ultimately the cycle is only slow.
Right, right. Why I mentioned is because we see a lot of adverts claiming that you can actually stop your hair fall just by using this shampoo, or or even in Ayurveda, there are few products which are advertised as, immediate stoppage of hair fall. So, but I've seen in homeopathy, there are no adverts as such, but whenever we go to the doctor, the doctor will always say that, this is the timeline, it's going to take time, but then it will happen. And this is how I always get relieved. That's why I visit the homeopathic doctor, because there are no side effects. Plus, the timeline is very realistic, unlike the allopathic and Ayurvedic advertisements. So this is where I know that I can rely on homeopathy. So, what is the biggest tip that you would like to give before ending our session?
I will say, like, you have a choice today. Like, if you are in your 30s, you have a lot, entire life in front of you. So make a choice today for a healthy lifestyle. I know, if even if you are in any kind of industry, be it an IT industry where there are a lot of people have a lot of stress, and in any industry, like, stress is not like in any industry that you have to be there. So don't fear that stress, but you can use that stress to like make it as a friend instead of seeing it as a foe. Like, it is going to be there, you have to overcome it, or maybe through any kind of practices, like the alternative practices like meditation, or maybe any lifestyle changes. So you have to make it as a friend. Like, you don't fear the stress, but use other techniques so that you can keep it under check. And once you overcome that thing, it is going to help you in the longer run. So
Right.
be it any pathy, you can have, it is ultimately your choice. So all those things are going to be helpful, or maybe see like you start to see good results when you have a good lifestyle, a diet, a lifestyle, and a personal choice. Like, you have to make that choice today itself, right now, not some other day, so that you start to see results or improvements in the long run. So
Right.
that is what something I'm trying to say. If you're in your 60s and now suddenly you say, I don't have any hair, now what to do? So like you say, no, the best time to plant a tree or whatever it is was 25 years ago. But the next best time to plant a tree is today. If you take any step today, then 25 years down the line, you'll get a nice tree which is going to bear fruit. So make that choice today. That's something which I tell my every patient.
Excellent. So, thank you so much, Dr. Samidha. I think I'm enlightened uh, majorly with all the solutions that you have given us. And I'm sure that this will help a lot of people to understand what goes behind homeopathic medicinal treatments. Of course, I'll share Dr. Samidha's contact details and her Facebook page as well, or Insta, any handle if she has, that we shared in the comment. Do like, subscribe, and comment in our channel. It'll really help us to know more about, what kind of topics that you want us to cover more ahead. So, thank you so much once again. And take care, everyone. And stay tuned for the next session with us.
Bye.
Bye, Thomas. Thank you.